the beginning of the good news of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. We have all had some good news this week and are daring to hope this might be the beginning of the end of the COVID virus with the arrival of the vaccine. In our dark world, filled with despair, there is a light of hope. Let us give thanks to the scientists, the medical experts, and all who have worked so hard to achieve so much in such a short time. The cost to some of the virus has been great, with the loss of loved ones. I took a funeral Friday, yesterday, wasn't it, of a local gentleman who I'm sure quite a few of you know, who died of COVID a short time ago. This second time round seems to have been more personal for a lot of us. We seem to have known a lot more people who have contracted it and sadly who have died from it. And our thoughts are with all their families at this time. A season of joy is upon us, yet somehow it seems to be lost with all the sadness which is around us. And other people, the despair caused by isolation has left its scars. For some, living under the constant worry of themselves or those they love catching the virus has caused terrific mental anguish. We long for the light to shine in the darkness around us. On Tuesday evening, we had our first of our Advent group course via a Zoom meeting on the internet. I think there was about 10 or 11 of us, and I think most of us were challenged and encouraged. The course is split into 4 parts under the general umbrella title of Light in the Darkness. Our next meeting is this Tuesday at 7:30, and it's thanks to Paul we've got this. He's paid generously for it. We don't have to interrupt after half an hour and rejoin. It is seamless, smooth and efficient, and thank you. And it would be great to see as many of you as possible on the next one on Tuesday, and even better to hear your thoughts and our discussion topics. I think this time is entitled Safe. And if you have any difficulty getting on Zoom, have a word with Paul after. It's a bit difficult. He can't come round and do it for you, obviously with the COVID restrictions, but he would be able to advise you, and certainly will be able to give you the ID for the number for the meeting. We were asked at the first Advent one to say if there were any positives that had come out of the lockdowns. And people did speak warmly of both organised help and the help given by people, just good neighbours, doing the shopping, running errands, or just a phone call or a friendly wave. One mum with young children spoke of how she had loved the precious time she had experienced with her children during homeschooling. But of course, there's another side to this for others. Some feel they have been forgotten, if no one is there for them. And obviously it is our duty of love to them, to be our Saviour's hands here on earth, to reach out to them and let them know they are loved and they are treasured. And we should have it in our hearts to look and see if a phone call or a friendly wave and smile or anything we might do just to lift the darkness from them. And we've come here this morning bearing gifts of love for children whose homes may not be full of love. Children who may face abuse or neglect, by the ones who should protect, guide and love them. Homes which, due to the pandemic, may have even less money this Christmas to provide the children with the gifts they deserve. We are so grateful for all those working with children in this area and the service they do with the families who are struggling. The work they do every day, every year. And we are thankful for all they have done throughout the lockdown. And we give thanks to God for them and look to support them in any way we can. Some of you may be thinking the reading from Mark this morning, which we've just heard, may be a little strange for the second Sunday in Advent, as we prepare to celebrate the birth of Jesus as a child in a manger in Bethlehem. For Mark's Gospel does not even mention the birth of Christ. Mark is desperate to start to bring the good news of Jesus as quick as possible to the people living in dark times under occupation of the Roman Empire. To a people who feel lost and neglected, to a people who feel they have been forgotten and abandoned by those in authority, by their church, and yes, even by their God. Mark's Gospel starts with God's messenger, John the Baptist, who has come to prepare the way of the Lord, the coming of Jesus, God's only Son, the one whose birth changed the world for everyone, even for those who denied him, even for those who deny him today, even for those who persecuted him. Christ's light brought hope out of darkness. John preached of forgiveness and God's love for all. For you, for me. Not achieved by the old way, by obeying laws and rituals and observing the way we should live under the rules of the time. By bringing a dove for forgiveness of sins, if you could afford one. Or even if you were really wealthy, a young lamb. John changed the way we thought, the way all thought. John decided, by the power of God in him, he said baptism by faith in the power of the Saviour's resurrection was the way to achieve forgiveness of sins. It was a gift from God by the grace of God. It was a new way of living for them and for us. It was a new way of living with our God, not based on fear and rules, but on love and forgiveness. Forgiveness for all, for Jew, for Gentile, for old, for young, for men and women, for poor and rich, for black and white, for all. A better world for all. Good news for all. So maybe this Christmas, like Mark, we might think more about the good news of Jesus, the Son of God, and all that can mean in our lives and the lives of others, than in a little child in a manger. Maybe this morning we can take the light of Christ out into the world, in our hearts, in our minds, in the words we speak and in the deeds we do, so that all those we meet will see the love of Christ in us and the hope that knowing the risen Jesus can bring in our lives. Then we too might be able to sing those words which are so familiar at this time of year. O come, Emmanuel, disperse the gloomy clouds of night, and death's dark shadows put to flight. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come to thee, to our homes, to our towns, to our land, to our world. And let it start with us, you and me, in the name of Christ. Amen.